Hello, my name's Amy and welcome to what I hope is going to be a really productive weekly writing vlog. I haven't actually vlogged in a while. I made a catch-up video recently where I talked about why I hadn't been filming a lot, and that has very much spilled over into vlogs recently. I haven't really felt like documenting my writing progress. As I talked about in that video though, I have been making lots of progress. So today we're going to be picking up with a couple of different projects, which I will talk about in a minute. I should start by saying it's actually Tuesday today. I was going to start this vlog yesterday, but it just didn't happen. We are of course in lockdown here in the UK, but spring has definitely arrived, so we've been outside a lot. We're lucky enough to have a very pleasant garden to spend time in, and also just a few minutes down the road in either direction from our house, there are lots of very empty lanes to walk on. So we had a very nice walk yesterday morning, but I also got lots of writing done. At the moment, I kind of have two main goals every day. The first and main goal is to make progress on the fourth book of my steampunk adventure series. I'm trying to write about 1,000 words of this every day, and right now it is at, let's check the bullet journal, about 48,500 words. I wrote my 1,000 words yesterday. I've done about half that so far this morning. I'm hoping to maybe crack 49,000 by the end of today. This book has been a long time coming. I started it in the spring of 2018 before my daughter was born, and then got very sidetracked and didn't go back to it for a long time. I'm making really good progress at the moment though, so I think it's going to be finished, or the first draft anyway, in the next couple of months. It's most likely going to come in around 80 to 90,000 words. With these books, 80 is always my goal, and I nearly always go over. And because this is potentially the last book in the series, there is a lot to wrap up. So if it goes over 80,000, I will not be surprised. Right now, all I'm trying to do is just do my 1,000 words a day, and I do have kind of an outline. I have a rough idea how many chapters I want and what might happen in each chapter. So I'm just going to keep going until I've got through all those plot points and not really worry about the final word count. The other thing I'm working on is a major epic fantasy. But because I'm only at the very beginning of it, I've got about 13,500 words out of maybe 200,000 for the first book. This is kind of a background project. I'm mostly doing a bit of this every evening, writing maybe 500 to 1,000 words. I'm really enjoying this project, but I don't want to put any pressure on it. I've got no deadlines or schedules or anything for it. I also don't mind if I just work on it for a few weeks or months and then completely put it aside to work on something else. This is just to keep the creative juices going, particularly now that I'm stuck at home so much. It's been really nice to have something with no strings attached to work on when I just feel creative but don't want to work on the steampunk. The reason I didn't vlog yesterday actually is because there's one other thing I'm trying to sort out, which took up way too much of my time. Last year I published the third and final book in my fantasy Sovereign Blades trilogy. It's been about a year since release, so I'm now making an omnibus edition of all three books, which I'm hoping to publish soon. Yesterday though, I thought I'd nearly finished the ebook and then found so many errors with it. I've been having a really hard time getting it to work. Basically, I was trying to take all three ebooks of the three books, put them together into one file and go from there. And so far it has been a complete disaster. I thought it was going to save me lots of work, and it really hasn't, because I'm going to have to start from scratch. The file I've made so far just does not work in any way, shape or form. So when I can face looking at it again, I am going to put all three books into one Scrivener file, compile it again and start the formatting from scratch. I don't know if that's going to be today though. I spent over an hour looking at it yesterday, just getting more and more frustrated with the state of this ebook, I really had thought I was close to being done, and now I'm having to start from scratch. So if I can summon the mental fortitude, I will have another go at that today. Otherwise, it's just on to writing. It's Wednesday morning. I'm sitting on the other side of the room today, surrounded by baby toys, because it is so bright in this room. So let's do a writing update. Yesterday, I did not write anywhere near as many words as I have been doing recently. I think I got about 650, something like that in the end. That's the smallest word count total I have had in a couple of weeks, really. I've been aiming to get anywhere up to 2,000 words a day recently, and I've been doing pretty well at that, but a lot of other things kind of got in the way yesterday. I did those 600 and some words, but then a lot of my writing time for the rest of the day went into doing that ebook I talked about yesterday. I was doing the omnibus or box set edition of The Sovereign Blades. I had to start the ebook from scratch. So to do that and to get it uploaded to Amazon took about 3 hours yesterday. And by the time all that was done, there was really no more writing time left. I've got a couple more things to do with that. I want to put it up on the other retailers today, so it's up on every store I can get it onto. I also want to announce on social media that it's being released at a low price for a couple of weeks to give people a chance to get lots to read really cheaply. But mostly the rest of this week is going to be about writing. They're relatively minor jobs. So I started out with 500 words on the steampunk this morning. You know, I kind of imagined this vlog was going to be about the new routine that I'm working with when we're stuck at home all the time. And of course, I started the vlog yesterday, which was the one day that was completely out of routine for me. It was lots of admin jobs and very little writing, which was a bit of a change. So today I'm trying to get back on schedule. At the moment, what I'm tending to do is get up in the morning when the baby wakes up. She gets her breakfast first of all, and then while she's playing for a bit, I usually try and get those first 500 words of the day. I really like to get a bit of writing in before I do almost anything else, because I think that sets me up for the day really well. The rest of the morning at the moment is mostly family time. There might be some chores to do, like cleaning up the kitchen or something like that. And then because the weather has been so nice, we've been spending a lot of time in the mornings outside. Then after lunch, my daughter usually has a nap, and that is my key writing time for the day. I will usually try and get another 500 words or so on the steampunk to reach my daily target. Now, I will say afternoons are not my preferred writing time. I tend to get quite sluggish and tired, and sometimes all I really want to do is have a nap. But I have so little time to myself these days that I really do try and work then, if at all possible. Once those 500 words are done though, I often do give myself a bit of a break. I will read, I will game, maybe I will have a nap. Then once my daughter wakes up, it's more family time for the rest of the afternoon, our evening meal, then she goes to bed. And in the evenings, I have been trying to work as well. This is where my second project comes in, the epic fantasy that I'm only about 10 or 12,000 words into. I didn't do any yesterday because of the ebook formatting, so I'm really looking forward to getting back to that today. I will write up to 1,000 words of that in the evening. Often not that many because I'm pretty tired by that point in the day, but even a few hundred words is better than nothing. Then the rest of the evening is for relaxing, maybe some TV, maybe some gaming. Never as much of either as I would like because, to be honest, I go to bed pretty early, but I just have to make the most of what little free time I have. To be honest, I feel like I've been keeping pretty busy during all this lockdown. There is so much still to do, all the writing, looking after the house, looking after my daughter. There are days when I actually wonder how I ever found time to have a job as well. But I do know I am doing a lot more writing at the moment than I have done in previous months. It's kind of starting to give me a blueprint for how I would like to go about writing in the future. As I have mentioned in other videos, we are in the process of selling this house, and that means also selling the business. We don't really know what we're going to do next, but we've talked for a while about building some kind of lifestyle where we've got more time for creativity, and I really would like to pursue that. But to be honest, that is a topic for a whole nother video. So 500 words done so far today, hopefully at least another 500 this afternoon, and I have got some baking to do. It's now Friday. I thought I'd risk filming outside and hope the road isn't too noisy. I didn't film yesterday because, to be honest, I didn't write very much. I find that when I'm writing intensely over a long period, roughly every 4 or 5 days, I need to take a break. My brain pretty much just reaches the point where it can't do anymore and I can't focus, and that was yesterday. So what I actually did yesterday was write 500 words of something completely different. Something fun and something that I'm not likely to finish for a very long time, but it kept my creativity going without really having any pressure attached. And I feel like that's something that's come up a lot this week. I'm very committed to this steampunk project because I want to get it finished, but I find there's a limited amount I can do on that every day without burning out. So if I want to still write and be creative, I have to put that energy into something completely different. And I've been doing a lot of that recently. There are times when I wonder if I'm wasting a lot of time doing that, but at the same time, I don't mind too much because I really enjoy it. And anything that keeps you creative can never be a waste. So today, honestly, has also been a bit of a slow day. I've written about 500 words today of the steampunk. I did hit the big milestone of 50,000 words, which was fantastic, but I think because I hit that milestone this morning, I've really slacked off this afternoon. It's Sunday night. I've got to be honest, I haven't done the greatest ever job of keeping this vlog updated, but I did want to just wrap everything up and talk about everything I got done this week. Just to catch you up, yesterday, which was Saturday, was a pretty good writing day. I think I did something like 1,600 words. Today, I very deliberately took a step back and a bit of a break. I spent a lot of time reading this afternoon. We went for a walk this morning. I wrote about 700 words and I'm perfectly happy with that. So I've got my bullet journal. Let's have a look at everything I got done this week. In terms of word count, the total came to about 9,000 words. Now that is down a bit on the previous week when I think I wrote 12,500. But this week was different because I did release a book this week. I didn't make a huge thing about it because it's an omnibus of 3 previously published books, but preparing the ebook for that and getting it launched did take up quite a bit of time. So I don't mind too much that my word count was down this week. There are also some other reasons for that which we'll get to in a minute. Let's do the figures first. Of those 9,000 words, about 5,500 were on my steampunk project, which is the main book I'm writing at the moment. I've just passed 52,000 words today. There were also about 3,000 words on the epic fantasy that I'm working on. Progress on that was quite a lot slower this week. I had a really good week on it last week. This week I moved to a new point of view character who I hadn't written before, and that really slowed things down. I've also kind of got to the point where I'm not sure what happens next. It's a very large scale project and I'm finding that I know what the midpoint of the book is and I kind of know how things end, but I'm not entirely sure how I'm getting to those points. And because it's a really big epic fantasy, I expect the midpoint to take place at about 100,000 words. So because I've got to about 15,500, I've got a long way to go before I reach even the middle. But I've started doing some brainstorming work on what comes next, so hopefully I will be able to make more progress on that next week. There was also a final 500 words on a completely unrelated fantasy story. I used that as kind of a day off project, just something to play around with. Hopefully it's something I'll come back to in the future, but it is way down the list of priorities right now. So, 9,000 words, releasing an omnibus ebook, and of course making this vlog. I'm not unhappy with that progress. That is quite a lot to get done. But I have definitely felt in the second half of this week that I have been slacking a bit. And I think, quite honestly, the global situation right now has started to get to me. For a long time, I didn't think it was going to. I was quite upbeat at the start of the week, and last week's work was absolutely great. I got so much done. But I know a lot of people kind of took a big break as soon as they were in lockdown and staying at home, and are now ramping up their work. I completely did the opposite. I started really strong. I dived into so much writing, got a huge amount done, but now I'm kind of tailing off a bit. The thing is, at this point, I have not been anywhere beyond just going for a few walks up the road in 4 weeks. That is a long time to be at home. And even me, a classic introvert who works at home anyway and who likes being at home, is now really starting to feel the strain. I'm doing everything I can to combat this. I don't watch the news a huge amount. I check in a couple of times a day and that is it. I'm staying in touch with family and friends. I'm getting outside a lot, going for walks, eating healthily, and taking time to relax, gaming or reading. But there is only so much you can do when you've been stuck at home for so long. It's really starting to wear on me right now. And I know that we might be in this situation for a lot longer to come. This could go on for months. And I think because there is no end date in sight, that's just making it worse. So I have felt kind of tired and run down in this second half of the week. The writing has not come as easily as it has in previous weeks, and I haven't felt massively motivated to work. Right now, I don't think there's a huge amount I can do to change that. I am not known for going easy on myself, it has to be said. I am one of those people who is perfectly happy for other people to talk about their mental health and to talk about taking breaks and pacing themselves. But when it comes to myself, I am such a slave driver. If I am not working, I start to feel useless, lazy, inadequate. And there is a little voice in the back of my head that in the second half of this week has repeatedly been telling me, just sit down and write, you are wasting time. Now, I know that's not the case. I know I needed a bit of time to recharge, and next week's work will go all the smoother for it. But this narrative of work and productivity being linked to self-worth is very difficult to break. The only thing I can say right now is that at least I am now aware that this is the way my mind functions. For a long time, it had never even occurred to me that this was what it was doing. But I do know now that I do sometimes need to be a bit kinder to myself, and that taking a day off does not make me lazy and useless. So I've got to be honest, this is not the note I expected to end this vlog on. I thought I was going to finish the week strong with a really big word count. And of course, 9,000 words is not bad at all, but it's not quite where I expected to be. So if you are in the same boat and you are struggling with the lockdown and the pandemic and everything that is going on right now, I am giving you the same message that I'm having to tell myself. Go easy on yourself. Everything is so strange right now and we can't be expected to just carry on as normal. I've tried to for as long as possible because that does generally make me feel better. But some days I just have to acknowledge that I need to do nothing more than sit on the couch and read a book or play on my Switch. And if you also need permission to do those things for a day, you absolutely have it from me. So that is where I'm going to wrap up this vlog for this week. Please let me know down in the comments what you're working on, whether you're working on anything at all right now. I think it's perfectly valid to just say, nope, don't want to do anything right now. So whether you're working or writing or just relaxing, take care of yourself, everyone, and I'll see you next time.